Why do you think there seems to be an achievement gap between students of different races?
A lot of explanations have been given about why the achievement gap exists. And it primarily exists between black students and white students and between Hispanic students and white students. And you can place those variables in a couple of categories. One category is what takes place at home. You know, what are the parents doing that might contribute to the achievement gap? And then the other one is what takes place at school in terms of contributing to the achievement gap. At school, lack of rigor is the number one variable, according to research, that contributes to the achievement gap. And lack of rigor is fundamentally about teacher expectations. Even if you have solid curriculum on paper, the school district has done spent a lot of money and a lot of time designing its curriculum. When it's actually implemented, that's when it matters. So if you're a teacher who has low expectations for children who live in poverty or low expectations for culturally diverse students, then you will deliver low quality instruction. Also, things in the school related to resources like teacher experience, teacher credentials or quality, it will be called, computers in the classroom or lack thereof, the learning environment not feeling safe for students. Those are some of the top reasons that the achievement gap exists, at least from the school perspective. Then when it comes to the home, you have perhaps families not being as involved in school as they need to, or just not being around, their presence, not being around the kids and controlling or overlooking, what they're doing, how they're spending their time, not reading to the children or not having them read, letting them watch too much television, meaning not monitoring what they're watching on television. And then from the health perspective, we look at lead poisoning, we look at low birth weight, and then you look at hunger and nutrition as well. So there are at least 14 major variables that, again, fall into the school category, fall into the home category that contribute to the achievement gap.
Graduation rate is less than 65%. Some may think, what's the big deal? But it's time to take a different view on the epidemic our country is facing. Approximately every 29 seconds, another student drops out. But why drop out? Clearly, there's a long list of reasons as to why students choose to end their high school careers early. And it is no surprise that nearly 1/3 of our population are dropouts. Although dropping out seems like the best option, many fail to realize the consequences. Many jobs now require a high school diploma and often some other form of education or skill. High school dropouts will not be able to obtain these jobs. Unfortunately, high school dropouts earn an average of $260,000 less in their lifetime. Dropouts are also more likely to receive government assistance and become single parents. Dropouts also commit about 75% of crimes. 81% of dropouts regret their decision. But we can help by reducing class sizes, focusing on freshmen because the majority of students drop out during their ninth grade year, mentoring students, and developing school pride and clubs will also help. If you or someone you know is considering dropping out, A good place to start is talking to a school counselor. High school dropouts are all around, and it's up to us to help stop the drop.
When it comes to grades and performance in school. Do you believe that there is an achievement gap and by race?
Well, there is an achievement gap by race, obviously, by the stats, but it's definitely something that can be like overcome. I mean, it is. I think it's kind of unfair how they only do blacks and whites, and that's only. Is there any other stat with any other race, was just blacks and whites?
Well, there is some. The research shows black students and white students and other minorities, but the most, but the thing that's in the topic is black students versus white students because that's the biggest number to look at. So you believe that there is an achievement gap?
There is an achievement gap, yes.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's different upbringings. Like some white parents might care more about their kids' grades, and some other black families might have family problems and not be able to like motivate and help their kids like maybe a white family would be able to.
And how bad do you think the gap is? Is it real bad or is it just something small or?
I think it's real bad. I know it's something that I like to see change over time.
Do you think it's significant, like a large number of black students are underperforming, or just?
No, I don't think it's a large number of black students that aren't performing as well. Because I know a large number of black students here that achieve pretty well.
Is there something that you can think of that could close the gap?
I don't know, maybe a program in the school. Maybe we actually do have a program in the school called Max Scholars, headed by Miss Allison. It's black students, mentor other black students, help in other classes. So we're definitely trying to, close the gap as much as possible.
Do you believe that's closing the gap, that program?
I think it is helping close the gap. I've seen kids that have had, bad grades, have started achieving more, and it's a good program.
Do you believe that there is an achievement gap by race?
Yeah, actually I do. In most of my honors classes, there's only like 2 or 3 black kids, and the rest are mostly white kids. And in like the one normal class that I have, it's majority black kids. So that's where I think it is.
So you're seeing it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how bad is the gap? Do you think it's something significant, or is it just like some people say it's blown out of proportion?
The black kids that are in the honors classes do just as well as the white kids, and then the black kids that are in with the white kids, I think it's just by numbers that.
Is it a
We turn to education and the impact tougher discipline policies are having on minority students. It turns out young Black and Hispanic students are far more likely to receive tough school punishments, including suspensions, than white students. Jeffrey Brown has more on the story.
Those were some of the findings in a report released today by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Overall, the report found African American students are 3.5 times more likely to be suspended or expelled than whites, and 70% of students arrested or referred to law enforcement for disciplinary problems are Black or Latino. I'll start with you and start with the issue of discipline and punishment. What jumps out at you? What's important here?
Well, let me make 3 quick points. I mean, it is, from a civil rights perspective, I think civil rights lawyers would look at these huge disparities that Arnie Duncan was just talking about. And where there's smoke, there's fire. They would say that this makes out a suspicious case that there may be some kind of discrimination going on. Certainly if we saw these kinds of disparities in an employment setting, people would jump on it. But the second thing I'd say is that, and more important than that, is that the expulsions, the suspensions, these huge disparities in discipline show that we're really not providing equal educational opportunity. You can't be providing opportunity if kids are kicked out of the school. And there are alternatives to those disciplinary measures. There are alternatives in terms of interventions in training teachers to do a better job of classroom management and interventions to figure out what's going wrong in that kid's life. But the third and most important thing I'd say, apart from a civil rights enforcement issue, is that these kinds of disparities in discipline are highly correlated with tremendous disparities in academic achievement and academic attainment. That if a school is not successful at figuring out why Jamal and Jose are acting out, the chances are pretty slim that they're figuring out why Maria is 2 years behind in reading. So fixing our schools, supporting our teachers, intervening with our kids in a way that we're searching for a strategy that works for each kid, that's the civil rights issue.
All right.